The business has grown from 20 million to this year we're anticipating doing close to 200 million. But I wouldn't say that it's not a difficult market. And hopefully this doesn't come across as arrogant. We have been very fortunate in that, but we've worked very deliberately to get listings. And because, as Cindy mentioned, there is an inventory crisis. That is a massive asset in this market right now.
Hello, everyone. Sergio Tiffer here, and welcome back to Cracking the Code, the podcast where we break down the strategies, mindset, and systems behind real success in real estate and business. Today's episode is special because we're joined by a powerful duo that represents what modern real estate at the highest level truly looks like. Cindy Raney is a top 1% nationally ranked real estate advisor with over 800 million in luxury sales, known for delivering a deeply personalized, high-touch client experience. And joining her is Jason Mudd, her partner in both life and business, bringing over 25 years of leadership experience across companies like PepsiCo, Bank of America, JP Morgan, and BNY Mellon, where he managed multi-billion-dollar operations and built high-performing teams at scale. Together, they built Cindy Raney and team into a true advisory practice blending strategy, analytics, storytelling, and white glove experience. Let's dive into it. Hello, thank you. How are you doing today? Thank you for joining our conversation. We really appreciate it.
We are so happy to be here.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. And for the people that don't know you, do you guys want to do a little introduction about yourself? How do you guys get together? The team that you guys have, and all the businesses that you may be running right now.
Yeah. My name is Cindy Raney. This is my husband and business partner, Jason Mudd. And we run a highly specialized luxury advisory real estate business out of Connecticut. We specialize in Fairfield County. And, we really focus on strategy, storytelling, and exceptional client service.
Awesome. How about you, Jason?
Yeah, so as Cindy mentioned, I'm Jason Mudd, Cindy's husband. Come from a different walk of life than perhaps a lot of folks in real estate. I spent the vast majority of my career as a banker for JP Morgan and some other institutions. And Cindy and I decided to form a partnership together in 2020 and have been very fortunate. We sort of caught a table that was set very nicely for us when Connecticut really started, the real estate market started to really burst at the seams, especially in the luxury space. So I know we're going to talk a lot about how we've done it and some of the things we've thought through, but we've been very fortunate to be a part of a really nice ride here and watching our business grow.
Absolutely. And you guys got together right at the peak, I would say, of the real estate market in 2020, and then probably you guys enjoy a little over a year of a good ride, and then 2022. And how was 2022 in Connecticut, by the way? I mean, was it as bad as other markets? Because, for example, in Virginia, where I had my team, 2022 was a bloodbath. And early 2023 was a bloodbath too.
You know what's interesting is prior to COVID, Connecticut led the country in price depreciation. So we were like the biggest loser, going into COVID. And honestly, we have not really had a tough market since that time. There have been times where it's gotten a little bit slower, but really we've had an inventory crisis almost. And we have really just been chugging along. I mean, I know it could be a tougher market for some people, but we have a lot of business, a lot of listings, and we're just
I would say it's important to note that we did sort of catch this wave as a surfer with kind of analogy at the top of the wave, but I would say that the wave has really not yet begun to crash. It's sort of, we've stayed on top of this wave for the last 5 years. The business has grown from 20 million to this year we're anticipating doing close to 200 million. But I wouldn't say that it's not a difficult market, and hopefully this doesn't come across as arrogant. We have been very fortunate in that, but we've worked very deliberately to get listings. And because, as Cindy mentioned, there is an inventory crisis. That is a massive asset in this market right now. And because we are getting our fair share of those luxury listings, it begets more listings and has sort of created a self-fulfilling sort of prophecy in that people are calling us because they see our property listed, and then that gets us another listing, which then begets another listing. So I wouldn't say it's been an easy market. for a lot of people. I know a lot of people are working incredibly hard and are not having the same success pattern. But I think, if you do represent the seller, you're in a great position in our market right now.
Right. And you both created almost $1 billion company, essentially. And from what I understand, you guys are very focalized on the luxury market, which during the peak, the luxury market was doing pretty well as we have approached this higher rate sort of environment. Especially luxury has suffered quite a bit, but has you guys experienced anything of that in your market or not really? Is a luxury popping down?
No. I mean, look, I'm gonna simplify the answer. It's just it's inventory, right? So lack of inventory trumps all at this juncture. So interest rates have not impacted our market. It has been a dearth of inventory, and there still continues to be excess demand. So it's a very, very heavily weighted market in terms of supply demand in favor of demand. So many of our clients don't worry about interest rates when it comes to buying properties, and they're more concerned about the fact that they need to get a house,
right? And
they're willing to overpay to get the property,
right? Absolutely,
because there's so few of them available.
Absolutely, and by creating almost $1 billion company, I know there's a luck factor in there. You guys have, you pretty much all the pieces have to be aligned perfectly, but I'm sure you guys are very unique. One of the things that I read about you, Cindy, is that you always emphasize the storytelling part with your clients and ensuring that it's not just very transactional, which is what usually some agents are. Like, they're very transactional. It's a one-time thing. I'm not going to see you again. Maybe I'm going to get a referral from you and whatnot. But especially in the luxury market, with, I guess, pretty much everyone knows each other to a certain degree. Mm-hmm. What is the defining factor? What is it, the unique thing that you both believe is what created what your team is right now, and the image that you guys have projected?
We have spent a lot of time making sure that we provide an exceptional client experience. And that really drives everything that we do, from our interaction with clients, the amount of market knowledge we have, any of the marketing that we do for our clients. Like, everything that we do and what the clients see is like luxury, high-end, beautiful production. And so I think that has really set us apart. And we also have a team of specialists, not just 14 realtors working together. We have a marketing department, we have a PR agency, we have a transaction coordinator. So every position, people are working at the top of their game all the time. And that really helps to allow us to really be the best at what we're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's one thing that a lot of leaders struggle, because I'm assuming that you guys are very specialized in the roles that you exercise within your team. And you mentioned that you have a whole team behind it. A lot of leaders struggle with that, which is the delegation part. Is, what do I do? Like, I have these 100 things to do on a daily basis. How do I focus on the things that are really going to move the needle and produce and bring me to the table? I mean, how do I hire? How do I build a team together to ensure that all the pieces move forward correctly?
I mean, that first step, taking that first step to hire the first person, is, I think, the hardest, because when you come into this sort of as like a solo practitioner doing well, you really feel like I can handle everything. I can do it all, and who's going to do it better than I am? And there were like a lot of conversations between Jason and I, and we had just started coaching with Tom Ferry, and they're like, you need to hire an assistant. You can't do it all. And I was like, well, what would I have them do? I do it all. And that was the toughest role to hire. We did it. And I mean, honestly, my production went from 20 million to 100 million, like in 2 years, practically. So you have to focus on the tasks that you're best at, and stop doing the things that are not money making, being on the phone with clients, things that you are not a good use of your time. You've got to stop doing those things.
Yeah, like, for example, I suck doing, charts and numbers and putting processes together. I'm just good at selling. I'm very good at it. I'm very good at getting on the phone, getting in front of people, and just creating connections. That's what I do best. But I know that a lot of my clients, a lot of my friends struggle with that part, which is, do I delegate? I usually tell them, hey, you can probably create a list of 10 things that you do in a day, and then just assign a number to every task. Like this is a $30 an hour task. This is a $4,000 an hour task. And then whatever else you can hire that is less than, I guess, $40, $50 an hour, and just go ahead and delegate it, right? That's the formula that I use. But I know every master has his own book. So I wanted to pivot a little bit on the fact that you guys are operating in a very specific county. Like Logan Matashami and all these guys, they always say, hey, real estate in general is doing well. But of course, a lot of people say my market is suffering right now. So we understand that real estate is very focalized. It's on a almost a per county base, right? So Fairfield County, it's very specialized. What do you guys do to understand your market? I mean, you guys seem to be dominating that county very well. Is there any nuances that you guys identify in your market and how you did it, so maybe others can learn the formula?
I mean, Fairfield County is incredibly nuanced, and every town, every price point behaves a little bit differently. And so, Jason really specializes in looking at all the towns, different price points, and he really goes over all the numbers and provides us with some detailed reporting on what is happening. And it's, in order to function in this luxury market space, you really have to be the expert in the field. So if we have a listing on Sasko Hill Road, for example, in Fairfield, we know every single home that's transacted, in the past 5 years, who owns them, and what's happening next. And so you can talk a little bit about our market updates that we do for people.
Yeah, I'll certainly. So I think, your question's an interesting one, because I think markets all have nuance.
Yep.
And what I think is really important to understand is that you cannot control those nuances, right? You cannot control the markets. So what you really have to focus on, just first principles, is what can I control? So we're really diligent about trying to be learning machines. We spend a lot of time studying the analytics, studying the data, understanding as best we can what those nuances are and what can we bring to a client that's meaningful, right? So we see a lot of times in a market, people will throw out data and they'll say, this is what's going on in this market. Number of homes sold, price, average price per home, median home price, days on market. And they throw it out there and let the customer interpret what that means. And we would argue that is not really helpful. What we would argue is that you should really explain the data to people. What should they understand that the data is saying? And then I think one step beyond that is, what should they do with that information? So we try really hard to be learning machines and then sharing our insights in a way that consumers don't have to grapple with the data themselves. I love the data. A lot of people don't. But I think where we distinguish ourselves in our market snapshots, our analysis, is that we are taking that data and taking it all the way down to, if you're a buyer, here's how you should interpret that. If you're a seller, here's what you should do with that information. And so I think that's really important for people to understand, because the nuances you cannot control, but you can control your ability to understand what's happening in your market.
And do you do a lot of analog activities, meaning open houses, door knocking, flyers, sponsoring events, or do you focus more on the digital aspect of the marketing, podcasts, PPC, etc.? How do you guys manage the activity of getting new leads in that area?
We do, right now, I think most of our business actually comes from our sphere and from repeat clients and referrals. And so we are really lucky that, usually we have inbound calls coming in. We have a very strong social media presence. Instagram is working extremely well for us right now. We've got over 1 million views per month.
Oh, wow.
And our listing posts are getting more views on Instagram than they are getting on Zillow. So for instance, in our listing pitch, if we're going on one, we usually talk about the fact that literally Zillow can get 3,000 or 4,000 views per listing, and we get like 140,000 sometimes. And we have people literally coming from different parts of the country to see our listings. They fly in, maybe they don't buy that house, but they buy something else. Right. So that's really where a lot of our business comes from. Plus, we
Yeah.
sponsor events, and we're really a huge part of our community that way too.
Yeah, let me just one tag along, because the answer that Cindy gave is 100% where we are today. But to suggest that we didn't do a lot of that, sending out a flyer, sending out a mailer, or using a listing to get a listing, we've gotten to the stage now where we're getting a lot of inbound calls and a lot of referrals, but we put in a lot of the yeoman's work ahead of that to get to this stage. So I don't want to mislead anybody and just suggest that we've sort of started here and stayed here. We started here and have built. And one of the building blocks was, when we got a listing, we would mail out a flyer to all of the neighbors, letting them know that we had a listing coming on, and come see your neighbor and come see what the house was worth. And then when it sold, just sold with, but again, very specific on the strategy that we used to get them $250,000 over ask, or in some cases, $100 more per square foot than is the average in a market, so that somebody who's thinking about selling says, holy cow, on my 4,000 square foot house, that would be $400,000 more than what I would get if I got the market average, right? So we're just, again, a lot of that stuff did help us get to where we are today. We're fortunate now that we do get a lot of incoming calls.
And with that big inflow of leads coming in, do you guys use any sort of appointment setting, or is that just distributed among your agents? And how do you guys work in that area?
We use Follow Boss, and our inbound leads are coming in through our Luxury Presence website, or through our social media, or through a phone call. And Jason and I see what's coming in, and we figure out who the best fit is to help a client that comes in.
Perfect.
But we actually look at each one that comes in.
Absolutely. Two different backgrounds. You were in banking, more traditional real estate role on your end. How was that first conversation 5 years ago when you guys decided to build a team? Say, hey, this is what you're going to do. This is what I'm going to do. Or was that an uphill battle at the beginning? Can you guys walk me through it? I'm very curious about it, because, banking, real estate is just so different. I mean, real estate is so dynamic. Banking is more traditional oriented process, slower to a certain degree, I would say, right? Real estate has to be fast all the time, taking calls, going on appointments and whatnot.
And we're married. So it's like,
you guys are married, right?
It's my house. And we still love each other. Right? It was, I remember when we were first thinking about doing this, and we would be at a Tom Ferry conference, and our coach would try to match us up with any other husband and wife teams. And we're like, how do you do this? And everyone would just say, stay in your lane. I was like, what in the world does that mean? Until we tripped over each other a few times. And then our roles sort of naturally evolved from there. And there was no clear path in the beginning. And it really just he is amazing at building our business. Jason's our visionary. He is such a big thinker. He reads a new business book every day. Don't roll your eyes. And yes. And he is our visionary, and he's really keeping us on track and moving toward our goals. I mean, we wouldn't be anywhere near where we are today with the success of the team or anything without Jason. And my role is really client facing, relationships, and negotiating, the best things we can for our clients. And I genuinely care about the outcome. So, that's sort of us, but you can answer that question.
No, I mean, I think Cindy's right. I mean, staying in our own swim lane has been sort of an evolution, but we've been disciplined enough to know where we both have our strengths. I would say, look, I'm really fortunate. I've had a lot of experience building businesses within banks, and in many senses, you're correct. Banking does things very traditionally, but I think coming from a different industry has helped me and helped our business look at things differently in the terms of how real estate has been done and how we're trying to do it. And I'll give you an example in just a minute. I'll just put a pin in that for a second. But I think what I'm really fortunate is that Cindy really cares about people. While she's very smart, very analytic, has got an empathy gene to the nth degree. And so I'm really fortunate that my belief is that we need to build, if we're going to build a business successfully, and we have a choice between doing something that's convenient for us versus the consumer will always choose what's convenient for the consumer first.
Right.
And that lines up perfectly with what Cindy does. So all of our processes, all of the things that we're trying to build, the team we've built, the types of specialists we've put on client relationships is designed specifically for the client. And it's great because I've got Cindy, who's the head of the relationship for the vast majority of our luxury our clients, who has this incredible ability to identify with people on a level that the process gets sort of buried. Right. Because you do have, I mean, everybody who's on this call who takes their business seriously understands that it's a process. This is, I had no idea how much went into a listing of a property or even helping a buyer. And there's a lot that has to go into it thoughtfully to make it a really successful outcome for people. And so that can get lost, I think, sometimes. And I think it's really important that I've been able to do what I like doing, which is focusing on building processes, teams, great people to support our client, and have Cindy be the front line to then translate how do I create the emotional connection with people that sort of lets me not worry about what's going on behind the scenes.
And since you're running the operations in the background, what's been the biggest hurdle that you have found as of today when running the team?
Yeah, look, this is one of those problems that you wish you could have had or foreseen. Is our growth has been so explosive that there are times where we haven't been able to find the right people to help us fulfill all of the roles. So there are multiple times I'm wearing multiple hats, or Cindy has to wear a few more hats than I would like for her to. We're very deliberate about how we bring people on the team. So this is a shout out to anybody on this call. If anybody knows somebody who's a wonderful team contributor in Fairfield County, Connecticut, please send them our way. Seriously, the business has grown so rapidly that we feel very, very fortunate. But to maintain the level of service, the level of quality, the level of detail that we really focus on, we would like to make sure we get a few more quality people on the team. And it's been very difficult to find people that fit our culture, our ethos, work ethic. We've got a very high standard, which we believe we need to have to keep our client relationships as solid as they are. But that's been the biggest hurdle for us. It's a good problem to have. We're grateful, but it's
definitely a good problem to have. So do you guys feel that you're going to plateau in your market anytime soon because your growth is so rapid? Are you planning to expand to other counties, or are you just going to stay there for now?
I can answer that and Cindy can weigh in. So the first question, do I think we're going to plateau? No. And we can get into that if you want, but the answer is no. And then two, we are looking to grow further in the existing county we're in, which is Fairfield County, which comprises a number of wealthy neighborhoods that we are not currently do not currently have advisors who are helping us grow the business, but we are looking in those geographies. And we are looking beyond Fairfield County into other geographies where clients of ours may have second properties, where we can think about how can we be helpful advising them on real estate decisions in markets outside of Fairfield County. Similar to how you wouldn't change your financial advisor if you have a house in New York and go to Florida.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
You wouldn't switch up.
It makes sense. Because the only reason why I was asking if you think you were going to plateau is if you're dominating the market. I mean, there's just so many listings you can get, especially if it's a luxury market on a very specific county. That's the only reason why I was asking, because I was curious about it.
I feel like there's a lot of business to go around. And that's even so, like in an office where there's a number of really great top producers. I mean, we're not really competing for the same business. It's like there are many people that are moving, and I can't imagine us plateauing, and plus we never take our foot off the gas. So I just don't think that would happen.
Yeah, and just like since we've been talking about statistics, in one of the markets where we have number one market share, and it's by an over 2-to-1 margin, we only have 16% of the volume in that market, right? Which is, it's magnificent. We're thrilled with it. But if I said we could get to 20% or to 25%, and this is in a market where homes are $3 million, that 10% difference would be pretty substantive to our overall mix. And as I mentioned, there are other markets that we're not currently in, but we're in the process of finding people to help us grow. And if we can get into those markets where homes are 5 million, 10 million, 15 million, again, we're not looking to sell at hundreds of units. We're looking to be really high quality, really great with our clients. And maybe it's only a handful of transactions, but as anybody can do the math. 5 transactions at 10 million a piece is a good number.
Absolutely. It's a fantastic number. Well, it's going to be very exciting to see you guys move into another market. I know that people is usually the biggest hurdle in any organization that is looking to expand. So finding the right fit or the right operator, I would say, maybe to help you ease a little bit of the stuff that you're doing in your current market. That's going to be very, very challenging, but I wish you luck. Cindy, you've been ranked among the 1% nationally many times. I mean, you have so many awards. What do you think is the key to your success? I mean, it's just relentless effort, or is there anything else?
Honestly, I think the more I talk to people that are really successful at something, I feel like there was always some reason why they were so hyper competitive or like had to work as hard as they did. I mean, there was a period of time where I was a single mom with 3 kids, and like there's nothing that I wouldn't do to work and provide a great lifestyle for them. And so like, I don't know, I have this drive that I've always had. I had a brief career on Wall Street before I left and started my real estate career. So that's how I was trained. I just think that I just put my heart and soul into what I'm doing, and I genuinely care about how people feel, and, helping them buy or sell a home is such an emotional thing. And it's so important that I really just, I like love to work, and I'm always interested in doing it.
I would also just add one thing that Cindy doesn't probably think about this, but I do, is I think that Cindy naturally tries to get just a little bit smarter by the time she goes to bed than when she woke up that morning. I don't think she realizes it, but she's constantly searching for how she can be better. And, we're always telling our own children, if you just get 1% better every day, that will accumulate over time, right?
Yes.
It will accumulate significantly over time. And I think Cindy sort of naturally, she doesn't let her foot off the gas, but a lot of it's because she's constantly learning. I mean, we just came from a great 3 days out in Beverly Hills with some of the other top advisors in the country, where we were able to listen and learn about how they operate in their markets, and there is some overlap in terms of how they deal with their clients, and there's some things we learn. And I think Cindy is never saying to herself, look, I've already achieved all these accolades, I'm here at this status. It's about, how do I help clients? And the only way to help clients continually is by getting smarter. So there's a lot of that too.
I mean, we learn a lot from we, at one point I had a speaking coach, and we do have real estate coaching, and I'm constantly trying to raise the standard for what luxury real estate looks like and feels like. And, I'm just really happy to be a part of this business and love meeting all the people that we do. It's great.
Absolutely. And I know that she mentioned that you keep up with all the trends. You're always reading, you're always improving. What do you think is probably the biggest trend where every team, every agent is to jump aboard? I mean, a lot of people will say AI, but do you believe AI is really what it is, or do you see it any other stuff?
Yeah. So the answer to that question is yes. I believe that AI is, there is no way around that. I'm gonna take a slightly different route to answering this question. I hope you're okay with it.
Yep.
I don't like to be in the business of forecasting and trying to figure out what the future of real estate looks like, only because I think it's changing so rapidly that I can only look dumber than I already am. What I would say is how do you think of clients? Where were they 5 years ago? Where are they today? Where will they be 10 years from now? What do we believe to be true? And I think there are 3 things that I can say with some certainty, which is one, we just need to get, I think Shannon might be on. People always are going to want great advice. I don't think that's going to be any different 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 15 years from now, whether they're a luxury client or not. People want great advice. 2, they're going to want wonderful service. Nobody wants to go into a relationship with a real estate advisor and not get great advice, great service. It doesn't matter what the trends are. It doesn't matter what AI does. And then I think the third component is, how do you take out as much of the stress of this experience? How do you make it as seamless as possible so that a client feels like you have their best interest at heart throughout, and that you've done everything possible to make this as easy as possible? So you take those 3 things, regardless of what trends, because I can't yes, I believe AI is going to be there, but in what form, I can't tell you because it's evolving so quickly. But where are consumers going to be 5 years, 10 years from now? If you can find a consumer 10 years from now who wants worse advice, wants worse service, and wants somebody to make the process more stressful, I can't imagine you'll find a single person who'd raise their hand for any of those. So I think those would be the things that you should be focusing on in terms of what does the future look like for you as a real estate advisor?
You believe that the real estate in general in the future will still be human-based, face-to-face type of relationship? Mostly, I would say overall.
Again,
right.
if I had to answer the question as best I can without being, having a crystal ball in front of me, yeah, absolutely. Because I do think that what I hope to be the case, but what I also believe to be true is that AI will take a lot of, will make the business you can be a lot smarter with how you use the AI to help you with your business. I don't think it will ever intercede between human interaction. And I hope that's the case. Whether they come out with robots or not, I just think that there's too much of personal interaction that is required. I don't know a single real estate agent who's been very successful in life who doesn't have incredible interpersonal skills. And I just think that will be true 10 years from now, 15 years from now, 25 years from now. How AI helps with that, I can't predict. I just don't predict. I do not believe it will replace the human element of what this business is.
Absolutely. And Cindy, I just wanted to ask you, one of my last questions is, in your social media, you mentioned, or you use the phrase white glove service all the time. Can you define that a little bit for us so we understand your thinking behind it?
I mean, well, luxury clients really expect, obviously the best service, which is like we try to anticipate their needs prior to them even realizing that they have the need. I think that always being one step ahead of the client is very important. We over communicate. We make sure that, every I is dotted and T is crossed. And I think that by doing that, it really offers a really concierge level service. And really we're there to take care of anything that's going to be or make it a more stressful experience. And we've got, somebody on the team directly working hand in hand with me to make sure that as you're getting your house ready for sale, we're there, we're helping you with the decluttering, with the staging, with everything, just trying to make it easier. And some people need a little more handholding than others, but we're there to, jump in as much as we need to. And we're there to partner with them to make it as easy as possible.
Did you create partnership with other companies, or did you create ancillary businesses around your team?
We use some of the companies that we work with have now really work with us exclusively, but really they're just that we partner with other businesses. Like we have a staging company that is our go-to, our video and photography team works exclusively with us. But really it's partnerships throughout the area.
Absolutely. And without future telling, not trying to see what the future has ahead of us, but do you see the luxury real estate market changing in any aspect or way in the next 5 to 10 years? Or do you think it's going to remain pretty much the same? I know that, you mentioned that you guys are not really trying to tell the future, but seeing that this is very specific to your business right now, luxury, do you guys see anything changing?
Yeah, I mean, look, there are always going to be trends. I mean, we just published our annual trend report, which is a look at the future of real estate, but it's sort of based on what we see of the trends happening in Fairfield County. But it's based on what we, have seen happen. And so it's not really a 5-year, 10-year look. It's sort of we see kind of happening in 2026. I'd be hesitant to answer the question other than I still go back to what I said earlier, which is what do luxury consumers want? And I think the analogy I'd use is if I asked you what makes a Four Seasons hotel so special, I know a lot of people will say, well, they've got incredible linens, or they've got a beautiful lobby, or they've got. What I would tell you is that the number one thing why they are so special is they're reliable. Every Four Seasons you go into, it doesn't matter where you are in the world, it's the same experience every time. And I think if we can continue to be reliable in what we tell people we're going to deliver and deliver upon that consistently, I think luxury consumers will continue to crave that as much as anything, right? It's not about necessarily having the neatest inside trick or understanding the newest trend tomorrow. What's most important is that when somebody calls us, they have an expectation of us, and we've got to deliver on that repeatedly. And if we continue to do that, I think that will be the best way to continue to satisfy the needs of a luxury consumer 5 years, 10 years from now.
Appreciate it. Now, I call this section rapid fire questions. These are very short questions with short answers. This is my first time doing a podcast with a husband and wife. So you guys can answer whoever you think has the best answer. You can just give it to me. So one thing that instantly elevates a luxury listing. What is the one thing that instantly makes a difference?
Besides our team? No, I'm sorry. I would say like photography, videography, storytelling, making the emotional connection with the house and making it feel warm. It can't feel cavernous and big. It has to feel warm, like you want to live there.
Awesome. One metric that actually matters. What is the one metric that actually matters?
So I'm going to give you 1A, 1B. 1A is our customer satisfaction. That's the metric that really matters to me. And the second one is actually probably 1A AA, which is our employee satisfaction. I think if we make our employees continue to treat our employees very well, that they will continue to treat our clients very well.
Awesome. So what is a metric that most teams and real estate agents are tracking that is not really that important?
Well, look, I will say your client reviews would be the metric that I would check, because I think a lot of people focus on, I'm number one, I do this much volume, I do that, and it's self-serving. I would much rather be able to say that we have 100% of our clients who feel that they're incredibly satisfied with the experience they've had with us, than I would to be able to say we're number one in a market.
And finally, what is the one book that you guys recommend to any real estate team or agent?
Sorry, I missed the question. One book. There are a lot of what I tend to like are biographies. So if I were to read a biography, I'd read one on Jeff Bezos, because he is an incredibly smart entrepreneur. And I think there's a lot of what he has built within Amazon that can resonate with anybody who's in it. He is very consumer focused, customer focused. He is very good at taking problems and solving problems for people, which is really what we do day in and day out. So I would say that there's Amazon Unbound is a great book. And I think it was written by, I would say somebody Stone is his last name. But anyway, you can find a book on Jeff Bezos and read about him, and you'll learn a lot. Okay.
Well, I appreciate the conversation. So one final message that you guys have for your audience or anyone that is watching and seeing and listening to this podcast. If you want, let's say you want every real estate agent or team to listen to this, what would you say?
Well, I would just say, we've been really lucky to learn a lot from our mentors and people in the industry. And I don't think we'd be where we are without all of those people really helping us and giving us guidance along the way. So we are happy to have a conversation or a chat with someone. We're an open book. If anybody would like to chat with us about, different ideas or how our systems, we're happy to. They could just reach out. We're on Instagram, Cindy, Raney, and team. That would probably be the best place. But just consistency and just not taking your foot off the gas. It's like, Jason will, when the market wasn't doing as well as it is now, I'd say like, I don't want to spend money on advertising. And he was like, we're spending more money on advertising. You never want to slow the pace and just keep at it.
My 2 cents is create a vision for yourself. That's the first thing. I don't think enough people set a vision. And I would say make it a really audacious one. I would say be really stubborn in that vision, but be really flexible in the details on how you get there. Meaning we've done a lot of brute force sort of pathfinding, meaning we've gone down a lot of avenues to sort of figure out if that's the right way to go. And we've hit blockades a lot of times, but we've been flexible and we've moved and we've shifted and we've been able to adapt. And I think that the vision has never changed. What we want to deliver is this exceptional experience for people. But we've just gone about it in a very flexible way. So that's what I would tell people.
Thank you very much, guys. Appreciate it. Thank you for the conversation.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Absolutely.
Thanks so much.
Cindy, Jason, thank you both for sharing your perspective, your experience, and the intentional way you build your business. It's clear that what you have created goes far beyond real estate. And to our listeners, if this episode gave you value, inspiration, or a new way of thinking about your business, make sure to follow, like, share, and drop a comment. Until next time, raise your standards, think strategically, and keep cracking the code.